I don't want to preempt, but this might not have gone that badly. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am wrapping up how I did for the PopSugar Reading Challenge for 2021. You may have seen at the end of last year, I put together a video with all of the prompts laid out and some of the books that I thought I would get to for reading in those. It is now the end of the year, and I don't want to preempt it, but I think I've actually done a better job with this one than any other PopSugar challenge I've ever taken. Because there's around 50 books to get through here, I'm not going to give you a full synopsis and full details of what I thought for every single one of them. I'm just going to tell you what has to do with the prompt that it was connected to and a vague idea of what I thought about it. First prompt is always a book that was published in 2021, and for me that was The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent. This came out in April of 2021 and I read it around the release time. An Afrofuturist book, I read that maybe last week, and for this one I read Knife's Edge by Mallory Blackman, which is the second book in the Noughts and Crosses series, where black people are the dominant class in society and white people are the oppressed. A book with a heart, diamond, club or spade on the cover for this, I read The Roommate by Rosie Dannon. The copy that I had little hearts on the cover. A book by an author who shares your zodiac sign. For this I read You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hobel, who is also a Cancerian. A dark academia book, I read My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, and it kind of fit into the prompt. I think it was the first one that I was really like, this might not fit, but I'm going to try and make it work. Book with a gem, mineral or rock in the title, I read Twice in a Blue Moon by CHRISTINA Lauren. A book where the main character works at your current or dream job, I read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Poppy in this book works as a travel writer. Spoiler alert, I have previously worked as a travel writer, didn't get to do as much travelling as Poppy did. Still salty over it. A book that has won the Women's Prize for Fiction. It didn't win it, but I did read Dominicana by Angie Cruz, which was nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction. A book with a family tree, my copy of Kim Ji-young, born 1982, had a family tree at the front. A bestseller from the 1990s, for this I read Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding, which was released in 1996. A book about forgetting, I read Ghosts by Dolly Alderton, where the main character's father is suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia. A book you have seen on somebody's bookshelf, whether it be on TV, in real life, I read Pride and Prejudice, which I saw on the bookshelf of my friend Charlotte from Courtney Reads. A locked room mystery, I read The Lock-In by Phoebe Luckhurst. Again, this was one that I kind of shoehorned in. It's not so much a locked-in mystery, but you are trying to figure out how these characters know each other. A book set in a restaurant, I read Act Your Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. A book with a black and white cover, I read The Whole Truth by Cara Hunter. A book that has the same title as a song, I read Rescue Me by Sarah Manning. A book about a subject you're passionate about, I read A Spark of Light by Jodi Picoult, which focuses on an abortion centre in the US. A book that discusses body positivity. For this one I read Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. A book found on a Black Lives Matter reading list, I read The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. A genre hybrid, I read The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James, which is like a sci-fi, thriller, mystery, romance, fantasy, dystopia. It's got like 5,000 genres in there somewhere. A book set mostly or completely outside. For this one I read You Have a Match by Emma Lord, and all of the characters in this book go on a summer camp and have spent a lot of time outside doing activities. A book with something broken on the cover. For this I read Last Night by Varia McFarlane. The copy that I had a broken wine glass on the cover. Book by a Muslim American author, I read The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagidar. She's not American, but she is Irish Muslim, and I kind of fit it in that way. A book that was published anonymously, I read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by CHRISTINA Lauren. CHRISTINA and Lauren are two totally different people who write together and put their names together as their pen name. A book with an oxymoron in the title, I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. A book about do-overs or fresh starts, I read The Single Dad's Handbook by Lindsay James. A magical realism book, I read The Witches by Roald Dahl. A book that is set in multiple countries was Baby It's Cold Outside by Emily Bell. A book set somewhere you would like to go in 2021 was Christmas Island by Natalie Norman. This is set in Norway, and I did not get to Norway in 2021. A book by a blogger, vlogger, YouTube personality, or otherwise online personality, I read Olive by Emma Gannon. A book that starts with Q, X, or Z, I read Queenie by Candace Carty-Williams. A book featuring 3 generations was The Switch by Beth O'Leary, in which you are focusing on Lena and her grandmother Eileen, and also Lena's mother Marian. A book about a social justice issue, I read What's the Tea by Juno Dawson. A book in a different format to how you usually read, I read Much Ado About Mean Girls by Ian Dosher, which was a play but also a satire. A book with fewer than 1,000 reviews on either Goodreads or Amazon, I read Faking It by Portia McIntosh. A book you think your best friend would like, With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. My best friend is a chef, and this book very heavily features on food and cooking. A book about an art or an artist, I read The 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. A book that everyone seems to have read but you, I read Circle of Friends by MAEVE BINCHY. Honestly, there are so many people that I know who have read this book and I just hadn't gotten around to it by then. Your favourite prompt from a previous PopSugar challenge, I read Get a Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert to fit in the prompt, a book that has a cat on the cover. The longest book on your TBR by pages. If you saw my vlog just a couple of weeks ago, you will have seen that I had read The Other Side of the Story by Marian, which had about 648 pages. The shortest book by pages on your TBR was The Suitcase Kid by Jacqueline, which had maybe 112. The book on your TBR with the prettiest cover was The Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgenthaler. I think you'll agree that that's a pretty good looking book. The book on your TBR with the ugliest cover, The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. I think you'll agree that that is not a very good looking cover. The book that has been on your TBR the longest for me was Girlhood by Kat Clark. That had lounged on my TBR for about 4 years by the time I eventually picked it up, and I absolutely loved it. A book from your TBR that you meant to read in 2020 but didn't get around to, I read Majesty by Catherine McGee, the second book in the American Royal series. A book from your TBR that you associate with your favourite place or person or thing, I read Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne because when I was younger, my brother was obsessed with Winnie the Pooh. A book from your TBR chosen at random, I just closed my eyes, put my hands on my shelf and picked out The Bride Test by Helen Huang. A DNF from your TBR, I went back to Frederick Backman's Bear Town and I absolutely devoured it. And finally, a free book from your TBR, whether you got it in the library, whether you got it as a gift or you got it on a loan, I read The Night We Met by Zoe Fallbig. That was 49 prompts. There was just one that I missed out on this year, which was a book by an Indigenous author. And I would still really love to take that one off. So if you do know of any great books by an Indigenous author, please leave them in the comments for me below because I will definitely go and check that one out. Did you take part in any reading challenges this year? How did you do? Did you get really successful? Or was it not quite so good for you? Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.